Hi, I'm PC Peri. Welcome to part 2 of the 23rd Busiversary, Flying Focus Video Collective's annual review of our weekly series on Portland community media.
And I'm Dan Handelman. Flying Focus started producing TV shows featuring peace and social justice issues in 1991, using video as a tool for social change, voicing the voiceless. The video bus highlights speakers, protests, and other information you will not see on network TV.
Grab a notation device to record our contact information, which you can see on the screen now. We'll also display it again a few more times during the show.
Our phone numbers are 503-321-5051 and 503-239-7456.
And our email is ffbc@flyingfocus.org. Contact us. Become part of Flying Focus Video or become a supporter.
So also here in the studio tonight are some folks in the control room. There's Moss, Alva, and Ellery. And then out here on the floor we have Daniel and Romulo.
Now let's get back to the producers introducing clips from the shows we've produced between November 2013 and October 2014.
I'm going to talk about the second show I produced this past year, which once again spotlighted the annual Hiroshima Day commemoration organized by Oregon Physicians for Social Responsibility. As in other years, the 2013 event featured music, dance, and information, and a call to action. Because we're only showing you short clips, what you won't be seeing are presentations about stalwart peace activist Charlie Grossman, who died last year, an invocation by a Buddhist minister, and PSR's Chuck Johnson with info about the Columbia River Generating Station. But you will see the Satori Men's Chorus singing a peace song about children, Kayla Godoa Tufti of the Warm Strings Tribes explaining some of the damage caused by Hanford, Twyla Malcho Hay, the winner of PSR's Peace Writing Contest, and Portland Tycho drumming for peace.
The prayer of the children on bended knee in the shadow of an unknown room, empty eyes with no more tears to cry, turning heavenward toward the light.
Cancers among rural, typically indigenous communities are prominent in the plateau and on the reservation. Chemical burns on Fisher people's bodies have been reported as far downriver as Bonneville Pool. Mothers have had unusually high numbers of a fatal birth defect, which results from incomplete formation of the brain during the first month of pregnancy. Though not traced back to Hanford as of yet, I can't help but wonder, considering historic reports of birth defects found in residents close to other nuclear production plants.
But what about the secrets they pushed under the rug? Not knowing what our people have truly done, even the people in power, our heroes, our leaders, the ones holding the futures in their hands, ordering more, needing more, craving the cold, metallic feel of power between their fingers, conquerors of death. And I thought they were in those positions to protect us, but only to destroy the land our ancestors lived from, the water they revolved life around, the land made uninhabitable, contaminated with the poison of power. Thousands of helping hands to clean up the mess that our heroes left behind, preparing for a future, saving what little we can before it's too late.
The third show I produced was called Fighting City Hall and featured two segments. The first was part of an appeal filed by Jerry Williams, a local Native American activist and city employee who complained to the Volunteer Citizen Review Committee about her son being beaten and sworn at by police officers. Because the CRC is limited to reviewing whether a police commander's decision could also have been made by a reasonable person, Jerry was frustrated by the CRC's indication they would agree there was no misconduct. The second segment, which was taped by PC, shows the Sisters of the Road Martin Luther King Day March for Justice. While a number of issues were prominent, the one you'll be hearing about in these clips is a recognition of the rights of people who are poor and homeless.
When the police came with Project Respond, when I sent them over to do wellness on my son, it was right after he tried to hang himself in my shower. He tried to jump off the bridge 2 times. They know this. They always put him on the mental floor. That was my biggest question when he came out. Why was he not put on the mental floor? I don't understand. You have this information about him. Why did you leave him on the floor? Why did you beat him? And yet to a reasonable person like myself, those comments that were made don't fly. But I'm a different reasonable person than you. And you all don't recognize that when we make these decisions. I am a reasonable person. And for people of color in the city of Portland, it's reasonable to believe that cops beat the crap out of people of color.
I'm here to represent the oppressed community on the day where Martin Luther King spoke for everybody. And we need people to know that he just didn't concentrate on one ethnicity, but all people through all country. And it's here to let everybody know in society that we need to come together and stop oppressing one another and be the real democracy that this country is meant to be. Our streets! Our streets!
Many people don't know, but Martin Luther King Jr. shortly before he died was about to launch an economic rights movement in this country. In many ways, people don't know this either. He was the first occupier. That oppression and poverty everywhere was a threat to justice everywhere, and he saw that. We as a people have to pick up where he left off, because the fact of the matter is, Occupy was the start of a flame. It was an idea, a remembrance of something that we as the American people apparently have forgotten, which is the real dream of America, not the capitalist dream of endless, infinite greed.
Hello, my name's Alan Evans. I did 2 shows for Blind Focus this year. One was on a visit to Portland by a group called Project Censored. On March 28, 2014, Project Censored visited Portland for a panel talk at the World Trade Center. Project Censored is an organization that fights censorship and champions media freedom. Our show presents a 4-member panel. They talk about how corporate media filters the information that we get and how misinformed we will be if we sit back and absorb only what gets fed to us. The members of the panel advised us to make the effort to dig deeper to learn what is going on in the world. The information is still there, we have to go find it. For starters, you can go to their website, projectcensored.org, where you can find a list of stories you probably never heard about. You can take it from there. This is the message. It is up to you to learn what is really happening in the world. And please support net neutrality. Now here's some clips from the show.
At Project Censored, we say corporate news media, establishment news media. They would love it if everyone would say mainstream media. It's not mainstream. We're the mainstream. They're the plutocracy, and that's their mouthpiece. One of the things we really have strived to achieve is a responsible way to talk about controversial issues that are very important to society without speculating and without giving undue credence to theories that aren't supported by factual evidence. Our cause is media literacy, critical thinking, and ending censorship. That's our cause. Our focus is how is this being covered, how is the corporate media spinning it, what is the propaganda, what is missing? And that's something that we try to encourage people to do. And in particular, we try to encourage young people to do that because we think that that's a big part of the solution, is getting young people to criticize and question and take part in society.
Seek out and support solutions journalism. I think one of the most powerful ways that the corporate news frames our understanding of the world is by not telling us when there's actually good news to report. When there actually are, and by good news I don't mean Hallmark card, Barney group hug type stories. I mean good news where people are organizing together to provide their communities and so forth with solutions to the problems that they face. Those stories are censored in the corporate media by and large.
The message that I've been supporting and others have been supporting is be the media. We cannot wait for these other people or these other institutions to provide us information. That's like like what you're doing here. You're coming to an event and you're broadcasting an issue and you're saying where people can hear more of these things. That's what to do right there.
But it's a classic example of where the news media corporate media tried to ignore Occupy. Then they tried to frame Occupy. Then they demanded that they be framed hierarchically with leaders so they could attack them. And Occupy just kept doing its thing, occupying. And Occupy didn't really go anywhere. They went everywhere.
With me is Joe Anybody.
Hi, yeah, I'm Joe Anybody, and I'm a videographer here in Portland, Oregon, and have been filming with Flying Focus Video for a few videos, and put my stuff up on Indie Media and my own website. Pretty much try to give a voice for the voiceless and document what's going on in the Portland area.
All right. Together, Joe and I worked on a show that covered a protest at a Walmart store here in Portland. On June 7th, 2013, there was a corporate meeting of Walmart Stores Incorporated in Bentonville, Arkansas. On that day, all over the country, there were organized demonstrations of protest staged at many Walmart stores. The protests were about unfair treatment of Walmart employees and workers everywhere associated with the Walmart empire. The demonstration we show was at the Walmart store located at Southeast 82nd Avenue and Holgate Boulevard in Portland. Joe Anybody was there to record the event. From the footage he provided, we were able to edit the show. So Joe, what was your impression of what you saw there?
Yeah, when I pulled up, there was about 100 people all out there, a pretty enthusiastic crowd with signs in solidarity with the strike and the workers who were up at the corporate offices in Arkansas. And they were showing support and fighting for fair wages, health care for their employees, and just better wages. And so it's pretty inspiring, and a lot of good amount of people there standing up.
Okay. Well, here's some clips from the show.
Basically, the effort is to organize the consumers and the workers to hold Walmart accountable for better business practices instead of being a drain on society.
Hey, Walmart, what do you say? Give your workers fair pay. Hey, Walmart, what do you say? Give your workers fair pay. Hey, Walmart, what do you say? Give your workers fair pay.
As of January 1st, 2014, workers in Portland have the right to earn sick time. Including workers at Walmart. For those who work for kind of medium to large size companies, they'll get paid for that time, but nobody will be fired for the time that they use when they're sick. So thanks to all of the groups that made that possible, and we'll continue to work until that is a law across the state and until that's a law across the country. But what brings us here today? There are workers right now who are mobilizing outside of their Walmart shareholder meeting in Arkansas. They're doing this without the benefit of a union. They're doing this because they're brave. Let's recognize for a minute what kind of courage it takes to risk your livelihood, to risk being able to make rent, to risk being able to put food on the table for your kids, all for better working conditions for all Walmart workers. So we appreciate the outstanding courage that takes. And that's why we're here today.
Yeah! Hundreds of our Walmart workers across the nation are on strike this week and taking the fight today to Bentonville, Arkansas, to the annual shareholder meeting of Walmart headquarters. United Food and Commercial Workers and Jobs with Justice support our Walmart workers and their demands for better wages and better benefits. Are you with them?
PC Peri back in the seat with you, and Barb Greene on the other side of the table. We're talking about Jeffrey Smith, the GMO speaker, person speaking about GMO, And what did he have to say?
So he's in our next clip,
Yeah.
and he came to town. He's the leading consumer advocate for healthy non-GMO choices, and he talked about all the things that are caused by GMOs. A lot of them are a surprise to me, and the risks involved. In this clip, he's talking about the FDA's reaction. It's pretty interesting. Let's take a look.
Okay.
In 1991, they told the scientists at the FDA, look at GMOs, help us create a policy. And those memos show that the overwhelming consensus among the scientists working at the FDA were that GMOs were different than natural breeding and carried unique risks. In other words, they were dangerous. Specifically, they could create allergies. They could create toxins. They could increase levels of existing allergies or toxins. They can gather toxins from the environment. That milk and meat from animals fed GMOs had unique toxic capabilities for those, because of bioaccumulation of toxins. And there could be nutritional differences and new diseases that could be resistant to antibiotics. All of these were laid out, and very strongly laid out. The person that was the compliance officer summarizing said, it is the opinion of the technical experts of the agency that the process of genetic engineering and traditional breeding are different and lead to different risks. And by trying to force the conclusion that there's no difference is like trying to force a square peg into a round hole. Why did she say that? Because she and the other scientists have been reading the subsequent drafts of the policy. They would pass up their recommendations and they would receive the policy. They'd pass up their recommendations and they receive the policy, and each time more and more of their concerns were being removed until finally a statement, a complete lie, was written into the policy that said, the agency is not aware of any information showing that these foods derived by these new methods differ from other foods in any meaningful or uniform way. So they were saying there's no difference in the policy, and the scientists were saying, don't try that. It's like trying to force a square peg into a round hole. One guy said, what's become of this document? There's no science in it, it's just a political document. One person, head of the Center for Veterinary Medicine, said, I urge you not to use the excuse of no knowledge of difference as the basis for no regulation, and that's exactly what they did.
Get your junk fixed. That's the name of the episode, and Barb Greene went out into the field. I went with her, and we got it on tape. Remember what happened?
Yes, well, we went to the repair cafe at the North Portland Tool Library, and watched people get their junk fixed.
They brought in sewing machines, vacuum cleaners.
All kinds of stuff.
Hi-fi.
Yeah.
And they got some things sewn.
Yes, yes.
Pretty interesting.
Yes, let's take a look.
So Repair Cafe is where volunteers come who know how to fix things, so sewing, small appliances, electronics, shoe repair, jewelry repair, leather repair, and then participants come and bring their stuff to get fixed for free.
He would not turn around. Is that one still good?
It'll get you by.
It better. I need that vacuum.
What was the matter with it? Sebastian, that's what's the matter with it.
Yeah, Sebastian. A parrot.
Oh, is that right?
You want to see the culprit?
He's a parrot. Well, what did he do?
He chews the wires.
I see.
And the relay, which one? Here's a.
This is the second time he's done this.
Go hit the bell.
And then
Slide it back and forth like this.
What is he doing?
Screen printing shirts.
What does that mean?
So bunch of shirts that were already used, and we're printing our slogan on it, which is, I got my junk fixed. And it's just kind of a fun thing to do, yeah, I don't know, to promote it, but then also to reuse t-shirts.
Okay, so this next clip is from the first animal rights show that we've done in a long time. So I'm glad to see that. Yeah. And tell us about what you taped.
This was a Portland Metro Council hearing for the public, and the focus was from the community speaking about elephants at the zoo, elephants that need to go someplace other than the zoo, especially since Metro had a bill?
A bond.
A bond.
That the voters approved.
They did. They didn't get their money's worth. What did you find out?
No, I found out that the money that was supposed to go to a sanctuary for Paki and other elephants who are getting older and are very sick from the circumstances that they experience there.
Even psychologically sick.
Right. The money did not go to that. Elephants do not belong in a zoo. They belong in large areas because they're large animals, so they need a lot of room.
That's physically, and psychologically they wind up actually going crazy.
That's true.
Stirring around like panthers in a cage.
Exactly. So these are people at the hearing who were pretty upset, and let's take a look.
Stoney, another of ours, was a beautiful bull elephant that ended in a Las Vegas casino and died a prolonged and agonizing death following a snapped hamstring from standing on his hind legs after hours of repetitive force training and after being put in a metal device for months in isolation, unable to move and with virtually no therapy, hygienic care, or treatment. For the Oregon Zoo to breed elephants for such purposes is utterly indefensible.
Standing on concrete, even for a few hours a day, is very physically detrimental to the joints and foot pads of these multi-ton creatures. Oregon's long, cold, wet winters are no place for elephants whose native habitat is mostly hot and dry with only a few months of rain. And even in the rainy season, the temperature returns to 80+ degrees in between downpours. Doubtless our winters have contributed greatly to Paki's and Rama's TB, arthritis, and Paki's slow-to-heal foot infection.
So many zoos have released elephants, their senior and ailing elephants, to sanctuaries in past years. And I also have a similar list of zoos that have closed their elephant exhibits permanently.
In 1998, I coordinated the first North American Elephant Foot Care Conference at the Oregon Zoo. And the resulting book can be summarized in one sentence. There is a general consensus that lack of exercise, long hours standing on a hard substrate, and contamination resulting from standing in their own excreta are major contributors to elephant foot problems.
I, strangely enough, own a business called Elephants Delicatessen. It has nothing to do with the zoo elephants. I have felt for many years that the zoo should be closed. I think you should start by getting rid of the elephant herd and then close the rest of the zoo. We have no business holding animals to make money.
Okay, so that wraps it up for the 23rd Busiversary. I'm Barb Greene from Flying Focus Video, and I want to thank you for joining us.
And I'm PC Peri. One reason we share this information is to motivate you to become more active in changing the world. Knowledge is not power until you act upon it.
People who'd like to volunteer with us or support us in any way, please call 503-239-7456 or 503-321-5051. Or you can write ffvc@flyingfocus.org. Now that you know how many topics we cover, maybe you'd want to take up a camera and make programs with us on a topic that matters to you.
Tune in, set your video recorder each week for this same time slot for the Flying Focus Video Bus. See you next time.